Please go, please." Those were Courtney Reese's last words, captured on her neighbor's Ring camera. Seconds later, Derrick Rankins fired 10 shots into her body. Even after she collapsed, he kept pulling the trigger. Her 4 kids heard everything from inside. Derrick disappeared into the Atlanta night, but police had his face on video. They had his motive, and they were about to learn something else. This was the second sister in this family to be murdered in 3 months. May. Sametria Edwards shot at a funeral. August. Courtney Reese executed on her porch. What connects these deaths? Why did Derrick hunt Courtney down after she exposed him? And how did a 27-second video lead to a shootout that left 2 people dead? This is the Courtney Reese case, and it starts with a secret someone was willing to kill for. Welcome to Viral Crime Psychology. To my loyal subscribers, I pray your families remain safe and protected wherever they are. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Here, we bring you the untold details of true crime cases, the facts others leave behind, and the truths that deserve to be heard. Today, we're examining the murder of Courtney Reese, a case that forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about domestic violence, about the deadly cost of wounded pride, and about what happens when telling the truth becomes a death sentence. This is a story about 2 sisters, 2 funerals, and 1 father who had to bury both his daughters in less than 3 months. Let's begin. To understand what happened on August 20th, we have to go back 3 months. May 24th, 2024, Conyers, Georgia. The Edwards family is gathered at a repast, a meal held after a funeral to honor the dead and comfort the living. It's supposed to be a time of remembrance, a time to come together. But on this day, in the 2000 block of Chestnut Hill Circle in Decatur, shots are fired. Not at the gathering itself, from down the street. Random gunfire cutting through the afternoon air. One of those bullets finds 29-year-old Sametria Edwards-McCord. She wasn't the intended target. She was simply standing in a crowd. Wrong place, wrong time. That's all it takes. Sametria was an Army veteran. 4 days earlier, she'd started her new job as a nurse at Grady Memorial Hospital. Her life was just beginning. Her career was taking off. Now her father, Travis Edwards, has to bury his younger daughter. The family, devastated, trying to process a loss that makes no sense. They're still grieving when lightning strikes twice. Sametria's older sister was Courtney Reese, 32 years old, single mother of 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son, ages 13, 11, 9, and 6. Courtney lived in Conyers, working tirelessly to support her family on her own. Everything in her life revolved around those kids. She was involved in their schooling, their activities, every part of their lives. Anyone who knew her, and they'd tell the same thing. Courtney was the life of the party. Her smile could light up a room. Her energy was infectious. She was everyone's hype man, everyone's cook, the person who made sure everybody felt welcomed and loved. But after losing Sametria, something shifted. Courtney made a decision. She was going to straighten out her life, distance herself from anything, anyone that might bring harm to her or her children. She'd already lost her sister to gun violence. She wasn't going to let anything else put her family at risk. Part of that decision meant ending her relationship with a man named Derrick Rankins, 33 years old, recently released from jail, and according to people close to Courtney, he'd been active searching for her. But breaking up with Derrick wasn't just about moving on. Courtney had discovered something about him, something he desperately needed to keep hidden. She'd found out that despite publicly identifying as straight, Derrick was secretly involved with men. Courtney quietly ended the relationship, but she didn't keep the reason to herself. She told her friends what she'd found out, and word spread. When that information got back to Derrick, it triggered something in him, something violent, something that would end in murder. One person claiming to be Courtney's cousin posted online, frustrated at all the rumors circulating about her death. "Y'all speaking on and don't know anything. Dude got caught having sex with another man. My little cousin exposed him. He was her boyfriend." Now ask yourself this: have you ever had to cut someone out of your life for your own safety? Not because you wanted to, but because staying meant risking everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. So, Who was Derrick Rankins? On the surface, he appeared to be just another man trying to get his life together after serving time. 33 years old, recently released from jail, active on social media. His Instagram handle was Big Derrick Ferry. After Courtney ended their relationship, Derrick's online activity changed. He was searching, posting, looking for her. But here's what matters. Courtney hadn't just walked away because she wanted a fresh start. She'd discovered the truth about Derrick's private life. While he publicly identified as straight, Courtney found out he was secretly involved with men. In their community, in his circle, this wasn't something Derrick could afford to have exposed. His entire public image was built on a facade, and Courtney knew. She ended the relationship quietly. No dramatic confrontation, no public call-out. She simply walked away. But she did tell her friends. And in tight-knit communities, information travels fast. What starts as a conversation between two people becomes whispered knowledge among 10, then 20, then everyone knows. For Derrick, this wasn't just about a breakup. This was about his reputation, his masculinity, the version of himself he'd presented to the world. And now that image was crumbling. After Courtney's death, rumors flooded social media. People speculated, they gossiped, they got the story wrong. That's when family members started speaking out. One person, claiming to be Courtney's cousin, posted a message cutting through the noise. "Y'all speaking on and don't know anything. Dude got caught having sex with another man. My little cousin exposed him. He was her boyfriend." This wasn't about judgment. This was about truth. The reality is, we're looking at a toxic intersection. Homophobia, fragile masculinity, the violent rage that can erupt when a man's public persona doesn't match his private reality. Derrick Rankins built an identity. Courtney threatened it simply by knowing the truth and sharing it. His reputation versus his reality. And when those two things collided, the result was deadly. What happened next would be captured in horrifying detail on a neighbor's security camera. He was searching for Courtney. His digital footprint suggested a man who couldn't let go. Meanwhile, Courtney was doing exactly what she'd planned. Rebuilding her life, focusing on her 4 children, staying away from anything that could bring danger to her door. She'd made her choice. She'd walked away. But Derrick hadn't accepted that. And on August 20th, 2024, their paths would cross one final time. Springside Drive, a quiet residential street in southeast Atlanta, tucked between Cleveland Avenue and Mount Zion Road. Working-class neighborhood. The kind of place where people know their neighbors, where kids play outside, where life moves at a steady, predictable rhythm. On the evening of August 20th, 2024, that rhythm is shattered. Around 9 p.m., gunfire erupts. 10 shots, rapid, echoing through the street, and then silence. A neighbor's Ring security camera is recording when it happens. 27 seconds of footage. That's all it takes to capture a murder. The timestamp shows 21:47 when Courtney appears in the frame. She's outside the house, backing away from someone. A figure approaches. The camera captures the confrontation. Then Courtney's voice cuts through the night. "Please, I don't." The first shot, then another. 10 rounds total. Here's what makes this footage so chilling. The shooting doesn't stop when Courtney falls. Even after her body collapses to the ground, the gunfire continues. Deliberate, methodical. This isn't panic. This isn't a moment of rage that gets out of control. This is execution. The shooter empties the weapon into her, then runs down the driveway and out of frame. 27 seconds. Beginning to end. Inside the house, on the other side of that door, Courtney's 4 children are listening. Her 13-year-old daughter, her 11-year-old son, her 9-year-old daughter, her 6-year-old daughter. They hear the screaming, they hear the shots, they hear their mother's last moments. When Atlanta police officers arrive at the scene on Springside Drive, they find Courtney Reese lying on the ground outside, bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. The severity of her injuries is immediately clear. Officers attempt life-saving measures. They do everything they can. But it's too late. Courtney Reese, 32 years old, mother of 4, is pronounced dead at the scene. The woman who was the life of the party, who made everyone feel welcomed and loved, who worked tirelessly to provide for her children, who had just lost her sister 3 months ago and was trying to rebuild her life, gone. The following day, that neighbor turns over the Ring camera footage to police. 27 seconds of evidence. And just like that, investigators have their smoking gun, literally, caught on camera. As news of Courtney's murder spreads, her family's pain spills onto social media. Her older sister, Lena, posts a message that captures the raw, unfiltered agony of losing someone you love. "I just want my sister back, bruh. I can't stop. I'm just driving and crying that video, hearing her plead to this monster and gasping for her last breath. I just keep replaying." She continues, "I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be around nobody. I just want to ball up and cry all day. I miss hearing her call my phone saying, 'Stupid hell, what you doing?' and me saying, 'Putch. I'm at work,' and her saying, 'Oh, I forgot.'" Then comes the part that breaks you. She had just called me yesterday morning talking about she was downtown and we was joking about what was going on down there. But if I knew yesterday was gone, be my last time talking to her, I would have stayed on the phone with her longer. But I told her I was at work. I'll call her back when I got my store cleared. Lord Jesus, why? Yesterday morning, a normal phone call, the kind siblings have every day. And now it's the last conversation Lena will ever have with her sister. Meanwhile, Travis Edwards, a father who should never have to endure what he's enduring, has now buried 2 daughters in less than 3 months. Sametria in May, Courtney in August. How does a father even begin to process this kind of loss? Leave your thoughts below. The Atlanta Police Department moves quickly. Within 24 hours of Courtney's murder, investigators identify their suspect, Derrick Rankins. The ring camera footage is the key. It connects him directly to the shooting. The evidence is clear. The case is solid. An arrest warrant is issued, but Derrick Rankins has vanished. He's been on the run since the moment he pulled that trigger. Now law enforcement agencies across Georgia are searching for him. The U.S. Marshals Southeast Regional Fugitive Task Force joins the hunt. For 7 days, Derrick stays hidden. Tuesday, August 27, 2024. 1 week after Courtney's murder, the U.S. Marshals Southeast Regional Fugitive Task Force tracks Derrick to a house in Stockbridge, Henry County. He's inside, barricaded. When officers approach to serve the arrest warrant, Derrick's response is immediate. He opens fire. One of the rounds strikes an 18-year veteran U.S. Marshal in the arm. The officer is quickly evacuated and rushed for medical treatment. Fortunately, the injuries are not life-threatening. The officer will survive. But now the situation has escalated. Derrick Rankins has fired on federal officers. He's made it clear he has no intention of surrendering peacefully. The standoff begins. Hours pass. Law enforcement surrounds the house. Negotiations are attempted. Officers work to resolve the situation without further bloodshed. Georgia State Patrol SWAT is called in. They deploy tear gas into the residence, trying to force Derrick out. Eventually, officers make entry. They find Derrick Rankins in the attic, dead. A rifle lies beside his body, at least 1 gunshot wound visible. The exact circumstances remain unclear. Did he take his own life? Was it return fire from officers during the initial exchange? The investigation into his death continues. But one thing is certain, Derrick Rankins, the man who murdered Courtney Reese in cold blood, would never face a jury. Saturday, August 23, 2024. 3 days after Courtney's death, friends and family gather for a balloon release in her memory. Purple balloons fill the sky, music plays, people share stories, laughter, tears. It's a celebration of life, exactly the kind of gathering Courtney would have loved, the kind where everyone feels welcomed, where love is the language spoken. And then a moment that stops everyone. Courtney's 13-year-old daughter steps forward to speak. 13 years old. Standing in front of a crowd, representing her mother, addressing her 3 younger siblings. She tells them, "Don't worry, we got you for life." A child forced to become the backbone of her family. To carry a weight no teenager should ever have to lift. A GoFundMe is launched to help cover Courtney's burial costs and support the 4 children she left behind. The community responds. People donate, they share the campaign, they show up. On Thursday, Courtney's homegoing service is held. The church fills with family, friends, neighbors, strangers whose lives she touched. They come to say goodbye to a woman whose life was stolen far too soon. Travis Edwards, speaking after his daughter's funeral, expresses something many people understand in moments like this. He doesn't wish harm on anyone, but he's glad that Derrick Rankins will never hurt another family, never leave another father burying his child, never take another life. This case sits at a dangerous intersection: toxic masculinity, homophobia, violence. When Courtney discovered Derrick's secret, that he was involved with men while publicly identifying as straight, she made a choice. She ended the relationship. She told people the truth. And for Derrick, that truth was intolerable, not because of who he was, but because of who he pretended to be. The gap between his public image and his private reality became a chasm he couldn't bridge. Research shows that intimate partner homicide often involves a triggering event: a breakup, a loss of control, a threat to reputation or identity. Add in the deadly combination of shame, rage, and access to firearms, and you get what happened on Springside Drive. Here's the systemic question we can't ignore. Why, in 2024, does exposure of sexual identity still trigger lethal violence? Why are secrets about who someone loves considered worth killing over? The answer involves layers of cultural stigma, internalized homophobia, and a version of masculinity so fragile that the truth becomes a death sentence. Not for the person living the secret, but for the person who discovered it. Courtney Reese was the life of the party, everyone's cook, a devoted mother who worked tirelessly to give her children everything they needed. Her only crime was discovering a truth and choosing safety for her family. She survived losing her sister Sametria in May, only to become a victim herself 3 months later in August. This case raises a painful question. How many people are living in fear of their partners right now? How many secrets are being kept at the cost of someone's safety? How many Courtneys are out there, trying to protect themselves and their children, hoping they can just walk away quietly? Drop your thoughts in the comments, respectfully. If this case moved you, please share it. Courtney's children deserve to know their mother's story is being told with truth and dignity. Subscribe to Viral Crime Psychology for more cases that demand justice, cases that deserve to be remembered, cases where the facts matter. We'll see you in the next one. Rest in power, Courtney Reese and Sametria Edwards-McCord, two sisters, two lights extinguished far too soon.